This is my Honda S2000. It's not built for speed or for racing or for chasing horsepower. I'm really not interested in impressing anyone with numbers. This car is built to be looked at. This car is my art, it's my personality, and it's my attention to detail. And after finishing this car in March, I never actually got round to showing you the finished result properly until today. Hey guys, and welcome back. So if you're an OG of the channel, you might remember how the S2000 started its life off with me way back about 5 or 6 years ago. It was completely stock, it was pretty clean, and it was a dream to drive, but there was just something missing in the S2000 for me. Fast forward 3 years, that's when I decided I would be true to myself and true to my style and do the S2000 the way I wanted it to be. Let's go back in time to over 6 years ago when I bought the S2000. Standard, silver, and it looks like it was filmed on a potato. My editing skills were not great then. I love it back then, but it did need some character. And I really did love this setup for a while, but it was time for change. What really threw me off doing the S2000 the way I wanted it to be were people telling me that I was ruining a good Honda. It's not how Honda anticipated this car to be. And they're right, that's not how it was anticipated to be. And I decided to stop caring what people thought of me and what I would do with my Honda and do it the way I wanted to do it. And I bought myself a set of BBS wheels, something I've always wanted for my whole adult life, and the air suspension. And that's when my dream of having the S2000, how it looks today, became a reality. So it was time to fit the BBSs and the air suspension with the help of some very good friends. And of course I broke my toe in the middle of fitting the suspension, which pretty much sums up the whole process. From the minute I got my S2000, I knew I didn't want it just to be a fast S2000. There's so many people doing Race Spec, I didn't need to be another one of those who were adding to the collection of Race Spec S2000s. And don't get me wrong, I love track spec S2000s, as same as everyone else. I did want one for a little while. For me, I wanted to build something you would see at a car show. It would stop you in your tracks, and the more you looked at it, the more details you would see. And this is where my mind went into overdrive. I would have spent hours online looking at the perfect part to fit this car, right down to the nuts and bolts, which ones I wanted to have on this car. And as much as people told me the things that I had would have done, they might have done, but I wanted to have it in exactly how I envisioned it in my brain, and that's what we did. There's nothing bought on this car on a whim. Everything was thought about and everything was bought to fit perfect. This S2000 started its life off as a silver one, but I've always had a thing for yellow cars, and yes, it was a risk going for yellow. At the time, I remember panicking that it wasn't going to be right when I got it, but I'm so glad I did. Now, this colour is loud, I'll give you that. It's not safe, it's not OEM plus, but that's what I wanted. I wanted it to be a standout car, and I wanted it to draw attention, which it absolutely does. And the whole stance of this car was planned with pure precision. Air suspension is of course convenient, but that's not what it was for. It was to control the stance of this car and make it sit perfectly when I got to car shows. And don't even get me started on the fitment itself. The process to get there was so time consuming, and I think you can agree that it sits really, really well. And moving on to my absolute favourite part of this car, the engine bay. And this is where things started to get serious. At this point, the decision was made, there was no going back. Everything had to come out. We spent a lot of time deciding what stayed and what didn't. For me, it was easy. Every hole, every bracket, and every unnecessary part had to be removed. So now it was time to start stripping the car to see exactly what we could remove. The front end had to come off, the engine had to come out, and the bay was completely stripped. Looking back, I don't know how we managed to pull this off. We only had 5 weeks to have it ready for dub shed, and this was one of the biggest challenges we've ever undertook. It was a lot of late nights and a lot of hard work to even get the money to pay for this. And at this point, we weren't sure if we were going to make our 5-week deadline. Like, let's be honest, who in their right mind takes on a project of this scale with 5 weeks to have a car ready? Once the engine got took out, that was when things got a little bit easier. There was more room and a bit more space to work in. And this was when we could really start to see what we needed and what we didn't. And since I wanted this engine bay to be completely empty, that meant the ABS had to go, the aircon had to go, and the heater matrix had to go. And of course, adding to the smooth bay, everything had to be wire tucked in behind the arches or relocated. And luckily, my friend Patty could extend all the wiring to behind the wings to make everything hit. The fuse box was located inside the car and the battery relocated to the boot. As you can see, the engine bay has been fully wire tucked and fully smoothed, and there's not really much left to the imagination in this car. This was not done at a body shop. We done most of the work here in my unit and in the other unit with the lift, all by ourselves, myself and some of my good friends, and of course Ryan, which makes it even more special to me. And the vibe I wanted to go for was, if you don't need to see it, you're not going to see it, and if I don't need it, it's gone. That was the vibe I wanted to go for. But of course, going to the extent that we did, that does mean you have to compromise some stuff. There's literally nothing left in this car that we didn't need. The heaters have been took out and everything. So I started off by drawing circles around absolutely everything that I wanted smoothed, and I mean I circled everything that was not needed. And looking at this car now just settles my mind. Something I had envisioned for so long finally coming to life. I can't describe it, the satisfaction and the love that I feel for this car. This car was made as a show car. It's been at so many shows this year and we've won so many prizes. It has been so good. The highlight of my year was getting this car over to Birmingham, to the Gravity show. And once it had arrived, it got a podium spot. And honestly, that was the highlight of my whole year. If you've watched the channel, you'll know that personally I've had a really tough year, and that just made everything worth it. All the time, the money, the dedication, stuff I've had to miss out on to have this car the way I wanted it, it really did make it worth it. There's been so much sacrifice I've had to make for this car, but for me, that made it all worth it. Seeing this car at Gravity on the podium spot, and every time I look at it, it makes me proud. I feel very privileged to have this car and to have the friends and to have the help that I had with this car. It really does mean a lot to me, and I think that's what makes this build so special and so important to me. We have all the rest of the cars, but I think if one car reflects me, it is the S2000. This is my personality. It's what I see in my head finally coming to life. I would say it shows a lot of my qualities, like how picky I am and how much I overthink things on the daily. But if any car in our collection represents me the most, it is the S2000. My pride and joy, it's something I'm very, very proud of, and it's something I hope I can continue taking to car shows for the next few years at least. Can't believe I haven't shown it yet. Like I said, life was very hectic over those few months when I got this done. The camera got left behind, and like every car build, it might not be your cup of tea, it might not be your kind of thing, but I think everyone who is into cars, who builds cars, will appreciate the detail and the time and effort and the thought that's went into this car. And here we have it, the end result. The colour, the stance, the details you only would notice when you stop to look. This build was harder than we thought. There were no shortcuts, there was no easy fix, just weeks of hard work and dedication to the build. And it's maybe even better than I imagined. So here we have it guys, the final result of the S2000, how it's turned out and how we got there. Alright guys, if you've made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, it really does help me out, and we will be uploading far more this year with some of the other cars as well. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.